All right, let's get some insights now from Viv Govender. He's with Rand Swiss. He's been watching today's market update. Viv, thanks very much indeed for your time. It's short weeks that we have on the business front, so not much happening as far as company news is concerned. But let's just start with your take on the Rand. I mean, look, you know, we were pretty strong, way far away from that 15 Rand to the dollar mark for some time. And I see today we took a sharp decline. Has it got much to do or anything to do with what we saw happen with the power cut level today from Eskom?
To a certain extent it did. I mean, going from, I think 2 is expected, 2 to 4 is a bit more of week coming through. I mean, if you look at the time it's happening as well, it's a shortened week. I mean, if you just had to go outside, look at the traffic, it's lighter than normal. So this is likely a period of time where demand should be weaker, but the fact that we're still struggling with supply at the moment is obviously a bad indicator. And there's also talk of us possibly having to go to 6, which would obviously be something that's very unusual in this country. I think 2 is more normal, 4 is unusual, and 6 is very unusual.
Yeah, indeed. And then, of course, to make matters worse on the potential rise in inflation, you were talking to me earlier off camera about the real prospect of seeing higher food prices, not just for South Africa, but globally. And the fact that, affordability levels on food should be really taken under serious consideration now. And that lag is likely to come in around about 2 months from now.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to start seeing food prices, food availability come under greater pressure. The world only has about 3 months of food reserves. That's what we kind of work on globally at the moment. And what happens is the Ukraine-Russia situation has happened. Firstly, their production is taken off the market. And if you look at any kind of map, Ukraine is a very big country. It looks small because it's next to Russia, and Russia is gigantic. They're both huge suppliers of agricultural products to the globe. Anyone that's bought some sunflower oil recently has seen the increase in prices there. They supply a lot of wheat to the world. Something like about a third of the world's wheat come from those 2 countries. In addition to that, they also, Russia especially, along with Belarus, which is also under sanctions at the moment, supplies a lot of the world's fertilizers. So that obviously impacts not just Russian production, but global production as well. For instance, somewhere like somewhere like Brazil, which is a huge agricultural producer of its own, depends, for a substantial portion of its production on fertilizers sourced from Russia. And with fertilizer prices rising, we're seeing, farmers in parts of the world, such as the US and so on, having to pull back on, the amount of grain they plant, for instance, because they just don't know if the future price of their products will justify the higher prices they pay now for the fertilizers they're using. So we are seeing a troublesome situation coming through with food production and food prices in the next few months or so.
Yeah, hence we're flagging the Rand-dollar exchange rate because it doesn't make things any easier. All right, before I let you go, Viv, just a couple of seconds left. I see the Public Enterprises Department really talking about some slow progress happening at the ports after severe damage from the floods in KwaZulu-Natal. But our backlog looks like it's, a week or more than that on some of these containers. That doesn't bode very well for the economy, at least in the next few days, does it? Because really is a tough task to try and get things and business active when you have that backlog.
Yeah, see what's happened is, the port itself was kind of functional in terms of they were able to, they didn't lose too much in terms of the ships coming on, but they have real difficulty getting those containers off the port. So because the railway lines were damaged, they don't have the ability to transport. Roads were damaged. The trucks can't move as easily. So we're talking about 8,000, I believe, containers that are in the backlog. And it's also according to, government, it apparently it will take about a week or so to remove those. It is obviously troublesome. I mean, if you're waiting for something from overseas as an urgent item, it obviously will impact you. Without, various critical components of machinery, especially from international sources, sometimes, you're going to have local production also being affected, even though it is local production. Almost no production is without some kind of international requirement or component in it. We're not sufficient in most things, I would believe. So we are going to have an impact not just for consumers, but also for companies out there. If they require anything at the moment that's on the port, it's probably going to take them a little longer than anticipated to get them in. Yeah. This is obviously going to impact supply in the economy, but a week or so I think is going to be fine. If you have to look, for instance, at what's happening in the US with regards to their backlogs, even without any kind of natural disaster around them, you have seen that there's been not much in terms of. Also, they have a much worse situation in terms of the amount of containers, the amount of ships and so on around a port like Los Angeles than we have in South Africa, despite the fact that we've also had this natural disaster causing it.
The container shortage, a big one globally. Well, thanks very much, Viv Govender from Rand Swiss. They're bringing us up to date on some economic development.